This is Sunday's Gemara. This is mainly still focusing on the Brisa. We're trying to understand who the author of this Brisa is. Says the Gemara, Mani, who is the author of this Brisa? Rebbe. This Brisa that says that the B'chor is entitled to double portion is actually Rebbe. Because not, the Chachamim are not going to agree that this is called the Mela. And the Gemara will explain. Time we learn. The Chachamim say, and we'll explain later when they argue, the Chachamim say that a B'chor is not entitled to double portion by any improvement. If anything happened after the father died, the B'chor is not entitled to it. It's only B'chol Asher Yimotzi Loy, only what's there while the father was alive. And Rebbe says no. I say a B'chor does get double portion. If the shevach happened by itself, you're definitely entitled to double portion. But not if the Yisayimim invested in it and they improved it, since it wasn't around when the father was alive, and the Yisayimim had input in it. Therefore, then you're not entitled to double portion. Then he continues. What happens if somebody owes money to their father? So now they inherited this document. The B'chor is entitled to double portion by the Shtar Chayv. In other words, we treat it as if the father already got paid out, because it's not just row potential, but it's actually paid out because you have a document. And the Rashbam explains beautifully. Just quickly, in Daf Chof Hey and Saiti, we had an argument Beisham and Beisil. If we say by a document of a loan, it's so certain you cannot deny it anyway. It's as if already I collected it. Just a question of me physically taking the property from off you. But that's where Shammai says, and Beisil says no. As long as you didn't collect it, it's not yours. So, but over here we're saying, when it comes to a document, the Rashbam says, I already own the piece of paper. This piece of paper will grow into, let's say there's $100 loan recorded on a piece of paper. This piece of paper will grow into a $100 loan. That's the shevach, that's the improvement. But I already have the cause of it, the trigger of it, the paper itself. So therefore, it's as if it's muhzik. It's as if it's muhzik, and the B'chor will be entitled to double portion. But what other way around? What about somebody draws a document that your father owes me money? So then, since the B'chor got double portion from the assets of the father, then he has to pay doubles. Only fair. Why shouldn't he pay double? But what happens if he says, if he says, and this is how Moshe is trying to learn, you know what? I don't want the whole double portion. Very nice. I'm a B'chor. I'm moichel. Rasha, he allowed to. Now, why can you be moichel the B'chor? Because we're going to see there's a difference between his first portion and the second portion. The first portion is a Yerusha. A Yerusha, you can't just opt out of Yerusha unless you make a kinyan and make it hefker, whatever. But when it comes to a double portion, it says losses, pishnayim. It's a gift. You can't force me to take a gift. And before you gave it to me, if I say I don't want, I just say I don't want it. You can't force me. I don't have to make a kinyan to contract out of the gift. So if the B'chor says, look, you know what? I have all these expenses as a B'chor. I'm not interested. I don't want to. I want to be like everybody else. I'm not. Now, at the end of the day, mine have come in. What's the benefit? The guy collects from all the assets. He'll still get fully reimbursed. So Tais said the nafkamina be. What about the other brothers who are all under bar mitzvah? Then that guy won't be able to collect his money for a long time. Or what happened to other brothers? Rashbam says are overseas. So he said, I'm only paying my share as a pashut, and the rest go to my brothers. Find it. Not my problem. So therefore, that's his benefit. Now the Gemara will explain. My tamayu de Rabban. Why do the Rabbanon say that row that it has to be muhzik, but row doesn't work? No, if it's not yet in the possession of the father, it doesn't work, and the B'chor does not get a double portion in any improvement. If the improvement came into being, even though it came by itself after the father died, the Chachamim say you don't get double portion. Why not? That the father who passes away bequeaths to his oldest son double. The Torah calls it a gift. Matanya kairachman, right? It's a bequest. Ma matanya, just like a gift. I cannot give you something I don't have. I cannot give you something that one day I'll have. I don't have it right now. Adam matul yoda, I have to have it. Af cheli b'chayra, so too b'chayra. Adam matul yoda, I have to have it. However, Rebbe says, Omakro, it says a pasuk pish naim. Rebbe says, so that's the Rabbanon's logic. Even though the improvement happened by itself, the B'chor is not entitled to two because the father doesn't have the right to give it that as a gift. Nu and Rebbe. Rebbe says, but the further the pasuk says, losses pi shnayim, double. That means the second part, the second bequeathment is equal to the first. So makish chel b'chel chel pasuk. Machel pasuk is like the original. Even though the father doesn't have it yet. I mean, the pashut, everything that the father has now or tomorrow or the day after, the pashut, gets his share. The Yerusha is av chayim b'chayim. So to the gift part, even though that it didn't happen yet, it's only going to happen later. The improvement, he's entitled to double. Nu Rabbana nami hoksi pishnayim. What did they do with the word pishnayim double? Well, the mitzvah lechad mitzvah. This is to teach you. We had this in a few days. This is to teach us the idea that you have two brothers and about 3 properties. And the B'chor says, look, I'm getting 2 properties. I want them to be contiguous to each other. And the other brother wants to argue, no, I want the middle property, and you get the right and left. They said, no, P9, that he has a right that the double property should be next to each other. That's what I need that for. The Rebbe, Nami, Haksiv, it says, and then we discuss, isn't it Koifin on Midas Daim? It's just it's cruel to try to stop it. Why do you even need a pasuk? But Rebbe also, it says, losses Lloyd. Rebbe also, it says in the pasuk, loss, it's a matana, a gift you cannot give unless you actually own it. The Rebbe says, well, you know what I do with that? Because it's a gift. I learn from there he has the right to walk away. He said, look, I'm not interested in the gift, and he has a right to say that. I want you to know as follows. That, and this is some of the Shem learn this way. There's Ram included. Dikla, the alim ara, if you have a palm tree, and Dikla the alim, a palm tree when the father died, but a year later when we divided the estate, by the time the probate came out and everything else, the tree became much thicker. You divide, an ara, the asik shirtan, or you have land, and the soil became much better after the father passed away because the water came and flooded and brought with it nice soil. The kuli amle pligi the shakel. Everyone agrees. Everyone agrees that what the shakel that the b'chai get double portion because it happened by itself. It's really the same thing. It was like muhzik. The tree itself became thicker. The land itself became more fertile. That's the b'chai is entitled to, as if muhzik. But keep pligi. When they're arguing bechafura v'habeshum. There was only like a little fodder there, a little thing growing, and suddenly it turned into stalks of wheat. It has a different name. Before it was known as fodder, and now suddenly animal fodder, and now suddenly it became a stalk of wheat. According to Chachamim, that wasn't in existence when the father was alive. So the b'chayr is not entitled to a double portion. According to Rebbe, since it happened by itself, it is entitled to a double portion. It changed. There's a machlekes in the Rishonim. So what about a calf giving birth to a baby? Is that considered like a name change? And therefore, the previous brisa only works out according to Rebbe, but according to Rabbanan, the b'chayr is not entitled to double. Or because the animal was the baby calf might have been in the stomach already in the womb, so it's not really a name change. It just came out by itself. Maybe it, even though Chachamim will be made that in that case it's considered muhzik as if it always was, and he should be entitled to double. Second one further. Amar Abachia. So who's the halacha like Rebbe with the Chacham? Now we have a general rule. The halacha is like Rebbe when he argues with his friend. The question is that rule also? Does that rule apply also when he argues with the Chachamim? So we have 4 different opinions here. Amar Abachia. Also kedivi Rebbe. Also, if you follow Rebbe, it's all right. If you follow Rebbe that the b'chor is entitled to a double portion if it improves by itself, all right. But if you follow Kediv Chamim, and if you follow Cham also, your psak din is not wrong. He also did the right thing. You know why? Because Misapkele, Rab Chia was not sure if halacha kerebi mechavei roi, the lay mechavei rov. Rebbe, we follow Rebbe only when it's against a single person. Or halacha kerebi mechavei roi, afilu mechavei rov, even from his many friends. I'm not sure. And Teis already says that we have a general rule that Allah is like Rebbe only from one friend, not from the Rabbim. So Teis says for some reason, it's only in this case that we have that question. Then the Gemara continues. However, Nachman says, Amar also last Rebbe. You're not allowed to follow Rebbe. Why? Because Allah he says clearly that the Nachman says in the name of Rav that the halacha is not like Rebbe. In fact, you're not allowed to follow Rebbe. You must follow Chachamim because we don't follow Rebbe. Comes on Nachman, he said, but I personally hold, I say mutter lasik Rebbe. Why? Because I hold kasavar halacha kerebi mechavei roya. Halacha is like Rebbe because you follow Rebbe even if it's against all his friends. In fact, so it's a bit odd the expression mutter. It's not mutter. You have to follow Rebbe, not you're allowed to. But because the Gemara before used the expression asur, so now we use the expression mutter. But actually, that's the only way to rule, like Rebbe. Comes along opinion before Omar Rava. Rava says, and some people take away, delete the word asur, that you shouldn't really follow like Rebbe, but v'im asa asur. So they find it a little bit difficult to use the word asur and then say, but it's all right. But if you did it, it's all right. Why? Kasavar matin itmar. Matin means sort of inclined. We're inclined to follow the Chachamim, but you can't totally dismiss Rebbe. So if you should follow Chachamim, but if you follow Rebbe, it's all right. Itmar, now we learned in the Brisa like Rebbe, we learned another Brisa like Chachamim, which just confuses everybody. Itmar, we learned, Nachman said, B'shar Sifri Rav, we have a number, we have the Sifri, which is on what do you call it, on Vayikra, but then we have other Sfarim as well. That's called the rest of the Sfarim of Rav, which is like on Shmois, which is Mechilta, or you have, let's say, on Bamidbar, and in fact, we'll have the Gemara Sanhedrin who says what, but the Rashbam brings over here that every Stam Mishnah, anonymous Mishnah is Rameir, anonymous Sifra is Rabbi Yehuda, anonymous Sifri is Rab Shimon, and an anonymous Tesefta is Rab Nechemiah, all students of Rabbi Akiva. Tani, Itma, we learned, it says like following. The Pasuk emphasizes whatever you have, whatever the father has at the time of his death. Prat l'shavach shehishbichu yorshin la'acha mislavim. So what's it coming to exclude? If the yorshin invest after the father died, then the Yudcha is not entitled to double portion. But if it happened by itself, Shakul is entitled to double portion. It's exactly like Rebbe. Umani Rebbe. This is the author of this Bryce is Rebbe. Tony Rami Bachama, Rami Chamalun, there he said, it says the same pasuk, the father had to have it, prat, and that comes to exclude any improvement that was not around when the father was alive, doesn't count. After the father died, even though it happened by itself, except in the case Papa said, if the tree became thicker, nothing changed at all, just that it became better or improved, the soil became improved. So it's as if it was always there. And surely if they invested in it, the children, the loy shakel, that the Torah is not entitled to both. Money, and that follows Rabban. Now we mentioned before about a loan, whether a loan is considered ro or murzik. So now we're going to have an argument about a contractual loan that you have the piece of paper. Do we say that the payment of the loan is as if it's murzik and the Torah is entitled to double portion? Or do we say, no, the payment of the loan is only a row and you're not entitled to double portion? Says Rabbi Yehuda Mishmul. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Shmuel, a b'chai is not entitled to a double portion in a loan. Which opinion is he following? Rabbanan hold that even improvements that happen by itself, let's say the way Rashbam is giving birth to a cat, you're not entitled to double. So surely a loan that needs to be paid out, you're not entitled to double. Why would you even bother telling us that? The animal's wandering about there, grazing, and then gives birth. You're telling me the b'chayt is not entitled to double portion. You don't take. You need to tell me that when it comes to a loan, he's not entitled to double portion. Of course he's not entitled to double portion. The money hasn't been paid out yet. Says the Gemara, Ella must be according to Rebbe. It must be that according to Rebbe, you should know that he's entitled to double portion. The Gemara, Ella, let me ask you a question. I have a problem. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Yorshu Shtar Choiv, if you inherit, it's a loan contract, B'choy Noitel B'shnayim. Bein b'milva, bein b'ribis. There's two parts. I'm talking about from a goy. A goy owes you money, you have a contract, and there's the loan itself, and then there's the interest. You're telling me that the p'chayr is entitled to double portion. It doesn't make sense. You just told me what Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel is saying, that a p'chayr is not entitled to a double portion by a loan. You said is not going according to Chacham, that's obvious. Must be going according to Rebbe. That means you said that Rebbe holds that even though things that happen by itself naturally, you get a double portion, but not alone. So who's the author of the Brisa that says that by a loan you get entitled not only to the double portion of the loan, but even to the interest? Who's that? Man, you loy Rebbe, loy Rabban. So Gemara therefore changes his mind, and the Gemara says, "La'olam l'Rabban." No, Rebbe holds that you're entitled to a double portion in the loan and perhaps the interest, as we'll soon see. But the Rabbanon say that you're not entitled to a double portion. What's the chiddush? Isn't it obvious? It's not so obvious. The itzah, because you need it. I would have thought milva when it comes to a loan, a contractual loan, even the nokich Torah, since he's holding on to a star, I would have thought command the gavidami. It's so certain the guy can't deny that he owes the money. It's just physically a question of taking the money from his house and bring it to your house. So it's so certain, it's as if the father already has it. It's as if you can even count it as cash in the bank. Kamash alone, and therefore the Yehuda will have to tell us, no, the fact is the money is not in the father's possession. This is called ro, potential, and the B'chai does not get a double portion. Says the Gemara, okay, sholchu mitam, but from Israel they sent something which argues Rabbi Shmuel. They said that a b'choyer noitel pishnayim b'milva, b'choyer is entitled to a double portion in the loan, but loy beribis. And they say, but not when it comes to interest. Now, we just said before that Rebbe holds that you're entitled to a portion when it comes to the loan and to the interest. So who's the author of this opinion that the b'choyer is entitled to a double portion of the loan, but not a double portion of the interest? Leman. Now, and why should there be a difference between the loan and the interest? If you're telling me that potential is, that this, since the money has to be paid off, it's clearly written in the contract, so why the loan yes and the reverse no? And the logic is that you gave this person $100 a loan, and he gave you a piece of paper in return. It's like security. It's like this represents the $100 you gave him. So as if you have it already in your possession. But the ribbis, you never gave him the money. That's something brand new that this person is going to top it up and give you an extra interest. That interest hasn't been paid out yet. Therefore, it's only considered ro. So who is that, the author of that opinion? Leman. If it's the Rabbanon Hash, they say the animal's grazing and gives birth to an animal, you don't get a double portion. But Ella must be Rebbe. But the problem is Rebbe just told us clearly you get a double portion even from interest. So who is it? Says Gemara Rabbanon that these people in Israel Sholchu Metam disagree with Rabbi Yehuda Mishmul. Rabbi Yehuda Mishmul says according to Rabbanon you're not entitled to a portion at all for the loan because it hasn't been paid out yet. It's not a muhzik. And the Sholchu Metam, the people in Israel believe that the loan part you are considered a muhzik because it's a dead certainty that the guy has to pay you. And it's as if the money is in your hand, the star is the money is sitting in your hand as a replacement till you get paid out actual money. And therefore you get the ribas. And that's the Rabbanon, because as if you're muhzik. Umilva commanded gavidami, and milva is as if you collected. Okay, we'll stop over here and start a new